Hello there, thank you for joining us on TVC News at 10. The headlines we are tracking this hour.
One of the suspected robbers who attacked Ondo Bank and killed 6 persons arrested by the army.
Fire raises arrival section of the Sam Mbakwe International Cargo Airport in Owerri.
Outside Nigeria, President Trump orders sack of U.S. Secret Service Director.
And in sports, Super Falcons of Nigeria lose to Canada in the pre-World Cup friendly.
Let's begin the news at this hour with an update on the Ondo robbery at Iduani in Ose local government area of Ondo State.
The men of the Nigerian army have arrested one of the robbers that raided the bank. The suspect was arrested by the vigilant soldiers when trying to escape. The spokesperson of the Ondo State Command, Femi Joseph, has confirmed that 6 persons died in the raid. Among those killed is a police inspector, 2 staff of the bank, 2 customers who were withdrawing through the ATM, and 2 others within the bank vicinity. 5 other persons who sustained varying degrees of injuries have been rushed to the General Hospital in Iduani. The robbers were about 11 and they raided the bank for more than 2 hours before carting away an undisclosed amount of money. But the bank located at Ishewa Quarters is the only financial institution in that community.
Now residents of Akure are terrified about the security situation in the state capital. They have called on the state government and the police command to provide better security around financial institutions to halt activities of armed robbers who hang around bank premises. Ayodeji Moradio reports.
The killing of Gabriel Abiodun, the bossa of the Akure Anglican Diocese, last week continues to generate reactions from residents. Abiodun was killed by gunmen at the diocesan office in Alagbaka area of Akure by yet-to-be-identified gunmen, despite assurances from the police that his killers will be apprehended. Some residents of Akure are calling for better security arrangement around banks. This killing has opened the eyes of some people to the need for government and police authorities to install closed-circuit cameras in strategic places. They say installing such gadgets around banks won't be a bad idea.
I think CCTV will go a very long way in solving security issue because one, if there's CCTV around those areas and that incidents happen, it's just to go back there and go and play, and then you know the faces. Because now, when you are going for investigation, I think the investigation will be somehow too clumsy to ascertain.
These people are not inside the bank; they are around the banking area. They are just looking out, watching out for people who are coming in with from the bank with maybe heavy pocket.
I think it's long overdue that this issue of a CCTV should have been installed, not only by the police but by individual corporate buildings around here. Because if
they also want the people to embrace internet banking to discourage movement of huge cash around.
And retraining the police, equipping them, provide them with logistics.
They can easily embrace the issue of transfer instead of you carrying large sum of money. There's hardly anybody in Nigeria today that does not have a bank account.
The police, on the other hand, are ready to provide escort for people who are withdrawing above ₦1 million.
An amount that is not less than 500 and above, nothing stops you from involving the police. It won't take anything from you. We will be ready to assist you. Just to escort you and the species to wherever you are going to.
Residents of Akure hope that the police will provide better security arrangement for them. Ayodeji Moradio, TVC News, Akure, Ondo State.
Let's now move to Bayelsa State, where the Deputy Governor has restated the need for security forces to be adequately funded and defend national assets. He made this known during a study tour by participants of the Naval War College with particular focus on the menace of sea robbery in the maritime environment. Ovetime George has more.
In its first quarter report in 2018, the International Chamber of Maritime Bureau revealed that its Piracy Reporting Center recorded 66 incidents in Nigeria. Similarly, in the first and second quarters of the same year, the International Maritime Organization report ranked Nigeria as top among countries with the highest number of recorded attacks against vessels. The menace in the maritime environment is now a subject of research for students of the Naval War College.
The theme of their study tour is combating sea robbery towards enhancing socio-economic development in Bayelsa State. And it is to help our students to appreciate what the state government is doing with other security organizations in the state.
There are some areas in Bayelsa State towards the eastern axis that has no security governance. You may need to look at it and start recommending how we can establish permanent bases in those areas.
The commandant of the Naval War College and the Bayelsa deputy governor are looking at practical solutions to robbery at sea.
As your economy is expanding, it attracts more miscreants. People have more ideas. You have to defend that. More money has to go into that. Government has to move with time, be flexible enough so that the armed forces is provided for adequately.
In the course of the study, be meeting all the security organizations, including the armed forces, security units, the police, civil defense, and all others in Bayelsa State to be able to tell us what they are doing. We'll be able to make appropriate recommendations of workable solutions that they will in turn be able to adopt, test, and give the college, the Naval War College Nigeria, subsequent feedback.
The economic cost of sea piracy reaches far beyond the shores of Nigeria and deep into other West African countries. Ovietime George, TVC News, Yenagoa, Bayelsa State.
Still on security matters, the Lagos State Police Command has arrested a software engineer, Mumuni Rilwan, who allegedly specializes in making stolen smartphones and those used for ransom negotiations by kidnappers untraceable. He was picked up at Computer Village Market in Ikeja alongside a notorious stolen phone dealer by a Special Intelligence Response Team led by the Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Yari. His arrest came following difficulties experienced by IRT and other units of the Nigeria Police Force while conducting investigations into crimes such as murder, armed robbery and kidnapping. He confessed to changing the phone's original international mobile equipment identity number into new ones, which would make the phones untraceable. Mr. Mumuni was arrested at his office alongside 2 laptops which he uses.
Well, Nigeria's Minister of Defense has visited Brazilian aerospace conglomerate Embraer. In a news release by the Ministry of Defense, Mr. Dan Ali inspected the Super Tucano aircraft that the Nigerian Air Force has got approval to acquire. The Brazilian government had given approval for the sale of its 3 serviceable pre-owned Super Tucano A-29 attack aircraft to Nigeria. The acquisition of this aircraft by the Nigerian Air Force is expected to boost its operational capabilities in tackling insurgency and militancy in the country.
Coming up on the news at 10.
Race for the leadership of the 9th Assembly intensifies as another batch of lawmakers begin induction course.
Plus, groups train candidates of political parties in the just concluded elections on leadership and conflict management. Details after this break.
Watching TVC News at 10. Let's now bring you more stories now as we tell you that the race for the National Assembly leadership of the 9th Assembly has intensified with the high-wired lobbying, negotiations and horse trading ongoing.
Senior correspondent Femi Akonde had an exclusive chat with Senator Ahmed Lawan, who was in the race.
Attention has since shifted to the National Assembly immediately after the general election. The next political action will happen on the floor of the hallowed chambers, and everyone is curious to know who becomes the presiding officer of the 9th National Assembly. I sat down with a high-ranking senator who is also the preferred choice of the governing All Progressives Congress for the office of the Senate President.
I believe that in life, this is one thing, experience is one thing that will drive leaders at all levels of leadership, and that is not restricted or limited to the National Assembly, to guide such leaders on how they lead the affairs of their organizations.
Federal lawmakers have most times been in the news for the wrong reasons. They are perceived to enjoy lavish remunerations and entitlements at the expense of an impoverished citizenry. There is also a swelling advocacy calling for openness and accountability from lawmakers. If Ahmed Lawan becomes Senate President, he will also be put under pressure to open up the National Assembly.
I believe the Nigerians will see a NAS that is improving on all those areas that the public accuses NAS of shrouded allowances or salaries and what have you. But my take is, I want a National Assembly that will work for Nigeria. I want a National Assembly that Nigerians will also participate in the matters of legislations practically, and that will make us, I think, a better legislature.
Senator Ahmed Lawan is also concerned about the rate at which bills passed by the National Assembly were rejected by Mr. President, citing drafting issues, conflicting and duplication of duties of existing government agencies.
Before a bill is listed in the first place for first reading, let it go through all the scrutiny that is possible to ensure that that bill is not replicating the function that another bill is already, an act exists for.
Data provided by the Independent National Electoral Commission shows that the All Progressives Congress has majority in the Senate with 62 elected members, while the opposition People's Democratic Party has 37 elected members. Senators will vote to choose their leaders, and whoever gets the support of a simple majority will emerge as presiding officer of the 9th Senate. Femi Akonde, TVC News, Abuja.
You can watch the full interview with the Senate leader on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria.
Still on the National Assembly, members of the 9th Assembly have advocated regular trainings for lawmakers to empower and make them authorities in parliamentary duties. They stated this at the opening of an induction for the second set of lawmakers of the Assembly. Correspondent Jokadisa has more.
The second and last set of incoming lawmakers of the next National Assembly going through an orientation course. Their colleagues had earlier gone through the same exercise last week. Speaker Yakubu Dogara chairs this session as he brings in his perspective to the training.
Where the institution of the legislature is strong and that of the judiciary is strong, you will end up having executives that exercises only the powers guaranteed by law or the Constitution.
A mock election of the presiding officers on the first day of the 9th Federal Parliament is also carried out to give the lawmakers elect, particularly the new members, an insight into how the day will be.
Senator-elect Anthony Kim, having scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and therefore is duly elected as the President of the Senate.
At the end of the day, legislators-elect say their horizon has been broadened.
We should have more trainings to deepen our knowledge of the workings of the House and democracy itself.
It brings exposure to what we, the incoming senators, legislators, are coming to face in making of laws and the conduct of the National Assembly.
The in-service training is important for you to know deep of what you are expected to do in any areas of where you are going to work.
They also speak on how best to achieve good working relationship with the executive and the judicial arms of government.
We must be able to, as much as possible, comply to cooperate with the executive without selling our independence away. We must be independent. We must respect the people that have voted for us. We must carry Nigerian people out. Also, we must be able to contain laws that will defend the judiciary.
We should look forward to an assembly that will maintain the envisaged separation of power by the Constitution.
In the next 5 days, lawmakers-elect will be taken through the rudiments of lawmaking in order to get them set for the task ahead in the next 4 years. New and returning lawmakers here say they look forward to an enriching week as well as a vibrant 9th National Assembly. Joke Adisa, TVC News, Abuja.
The European Centre for Electoral Support and other groups have emphasized the need for candidates of various political parties in the just concluded elections to exchange knowledge, experience and leadership skills for the enhancement of good governance. TVC News' Olawakon reports.
The 2019 elections have come and gone, but a review of the electoral exercise is still in the front burner. Lois Anta was one of the House of Reps candidates in Abuja. She did not win, but to her, more needs to be done to encourage participation of people with disabilities in politics.
I plan to strategize with young people and persons with disabilities to come up with strategies like funding organizations, like having a movement in the 36 states and federal capital territory.
If you have to check out,
unlike Mrs. Anta, Itam Abang, who also participated in the election as a state assembly candidate in Cross River State, won.
Elections don't respect gender, so you do what the men do. You need to work hard together. It does not respect gender. So you do the same work that the men, your male counterparts, are doing.
These two are among the 28 candidates selected across the 6 geopolitical zones to be part of this project, designed to increase the level of confidence and exchange of ideas.
Here we have 28 participants who were recommended across the country, who come from the 6 geopolitical zones. They were recommended by different organizations who work in inclusion and who also follow them during the campaign and when they were running for offices. So it's the first one with women, people with disability and youth candidates, elected or not, but it's not the last one.
The program is also for the promotion of more inclusive electoral process and discouragement of electoral violence.
Women suffer different kinds of electoral violence, psychological, physical, emotional, and what have you. So this is an opportunity for them to reflect on that.
I think it's a good starting point because you have seen a lot of young people who have taken up leadership roles. They are aspiring. Some have succeeded, some haven't, but I think it's a good starting point.
Participants are expected to learn more useful political strategies and conflict management skills for a better electoral process in the near future. Ola Awakon, TVC News, Lagos.
Well, plans are underway by the Lagos State government to address problems associated with employment of domestic staff. The State House of Assembly is presently working on a bill which will ultimately eliminate criminal tendencies found in some of these domestic staff, as well as protect the rights of these persons in the state. Lagos Assembly correspondent Abimbola Agbebi has more on the story.
The pressure of meeting home demands in a society where in some cases a man and a woman are found struggling to make ends meet. Home chores such as house cleaning, laundry among others are a big deal for some people, especially when the best of the day is spent at their various places of work. Those who probably fit into this category are working class people, mostly young parents who are burdened with the responsibility of looking after their works. But many still believe that these domestic workers cause more harm than good.
We can because of what is happening now. I've never had a house help. Anyway, I've just tried to manage on my own. Because though I was very lucky, I had my granny then, so she was on ground for me. But I wouldn't advise anyone to go for house help.
The one my mom had for my sisters, she got pregnant. Despite everything we did to take care of her. At the end of the day, we discovered that the age that was declared to us wasn't our age.
When you know that you don't have the time for having a child, why did you get married? You have to have time for your husband.
These fears expressed by people formed part of the reasons the Lagos State government mooted a bill to address these issues. Domestic staff service providers are expected to have their names registered with an agency under the watch of the Lagos State government. The bill, when passed into law, would discourage the use of underage children as domestic workers. It also seeks to eliminate criminal tendencies in these domestic workers and protect the rights of the employers and the employees.
Untoward things that occur between the servants and the masters in the domestic service setup. So Lagos State House of Assembly, in its usual proactive manner, is coming up with this bill into a law that will further seek to regulate the activities of the domestic service providers in Lagos State.
But some Nigerians are still not sure of the effectiveness of the bill when passed into law.
But are we sure it's going to be 100% effective? That is the problem. We are not sure. That is it. If it's going to be 100% effective, then we can give it a trial.
It depends. Because sometimes they pass this bill, I'm not sure it will really solve the problem.
I will be very glad if Lagos State can pass it into law for us to have peace of mind.
Trying to stop the domestic staff.
The bill presently awaits its final reading, after which it becomes a law. Abimbola Agbibi, TVC News, Lagos.
And now to the judiciary. After about 3 months in the eye of the storm, Justice Walter Onohe on Friday tendered his resignation. He was said to have sent his resignation letter to President Buhari only a day after the National Judicial Council allegedly recommended his compulsory retirement for misconduct. Senior political correspondent Ayodele Ozugbako in this report examines the crisis faced by Nigeria's former Chief Justice.
The embattled former Chief Justice of Nigeria is still standing trial at the Code of Conduct Tribunal, CCT, on an alleged 6-count charge of failure to disclose its assets as required by the law for public office holders. He was alleged to have owned sundry accounts primarily funded through cash deposits he made in person up to as recent as August 10, 2016. But the transactions appeared to have been conducted in a manner inconsistent with financial transparency and code of conduct for public officials. Lawyers say the allegations, even if unproven in court, might have significantly damaged Onoge's moral standing and weakened his reputation should he have opted to return to his office after his suspension by the federal government.
Onoge and CJN, rightly or wrongly, now carries a heavy moral burden. So assuming that everything went well and he was found not liable, it will be extremely difficult to go back. I would have then said the best way would be to see that in order to save the institution of the judiciary, that it's best for him to leave. And not because he's complicit or guilty, but just because the institution of the judiciary is bigger than him.
What he should have done is to resign or step out of that office on the 10th of January when he was initially charged before the CCT. And the point is this, you see, once you lose the moral authority to be a leader, then there's a problem because your integrity, the state has challenged your integrity.
For some other lawyers, Justice Onoge's trial is all but political.
I call this political because the president knows that the Code of Conduct Tribunal couldn't have done that. When the Code of Conduct Tribunal itself had, in the case of Justice Nguta, declined jurisdiction to try him on the same asset declaration issue. So I was surprised that the Code of Conduct Tribunal did not say to the prosecutor,
But I've just dismissed the case of Ngota on grounds of jurisdiction. So why are you bringing Mr. Justice Onogan here? So all of that made me very strong about it. I wrote a petition against the entire process. So I think in the beginning, clearly, the way it started, for me, was clearly political.
The decision by the NJC to allegedly recommend Onogan's compulsory retirement to the president after deliberating on the petition filed against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission may have seriously accentuated his resignation option.
The EFCC carried out an investigation. The NJC set up a committee, and that committee has made a recommendation. Now, without waiting for the president's decision, you quickly resign or retire yourself. Then people will start asking questions. Why now? Why not before? And that is the issue.
Many believe that with his resignation, President Buhari has been saved the trouble of shopping for a 2/3 majority from the Senate as required by Section 292, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution to confirm Justice Onogan's retirement. Ayodele Zubakun, TVC News, Lagos.
You're watching TVC News at 10, still ahead.
State of emergency declared on maternal and child mortality in Nigeria.
Stay with us for details of that story and more.
Thanks for watching TVC News. Another look now at our top stars.
One of the suspected robbers who attacked Ondo Bank and killed 6 persons arrested by the army.
Fire raises arrival section of the Samuel Bakwe International Cargo Airport in Owerri, Imo State.
Outside Nigeria, President Donald Trump orders sack of U.S. Secret Service Director.
In sports, Super Falcons of Nigeria lose to Canada in a pre-World Cup friendly. Every day, Nigeria loses about 145 women to death from preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth.
Now, this worrisome figure is the reason the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency has declared a state of emergency on maternal and child mortality in the country. Kemi Balogun tells us more.
The CEOs will, in the next few days, also declare this emergency in their states.
A state of emergency declared to turn the spotlight on the need for a rapid reduction in maternal and child mortality in Nigeria. It is a plan by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, which is expected to bring about strategies that will help in the reduction of totally preventable maternal and child deaths. Presently, more than 2,000 children under the age of 5 die every day from diseases or factors that can be prevented. 1 out of every 10 under 5 children dying in the world is a Nigerian, and 1 out of every 8 Nigerian children die before celebrating their 5th birthday.
We are outraged by these statistics. It is notable that these deaths do not make daily headlines in the press, nor raise the same emotions as plane crashes. Having noted the high rate of maternal, newborn, and under 5 child mortality, and the insufficiency of our current efforts to reverse the trend, I hereby declare a state of public health concern on maternal, newborn, and child deaths occurring at the primary healthcare and community levels.
This gathering has brought together key players that will push the need to enhance, encourage, and drive the chain of the availability of primary healthcare services to pregnant women and children under the age of 5.
No woman should die while giving birth, and every child has the right to life, to thrive, to grow up, and realize his or her full potential. The government of Nigeria is committed to reversing this trend that we've been hearing of since morning in this meeting, and with concrete actions to make sure that we change this particular alarming and concerning trend.
Traditional leaders of northern Nigeria were saddened by the statistics, and working with our development partners and the National Primary Healthcare Agency have started taking steps since 2017 to really bring forth images, names, and addresses of all these mortalities in our communities, so that we can, instead of just giving figures, show real people to our political leaders and to the entire communities with provision and sensitization and information on where to go to get assistance so that these bad indices, these bad statistics can be curbed.
The Nigerian government has also put on the front burner of healthcare the revitalization of 10,000 primary healthcare facilities across the country. But so far, the positive effects of this plan is yet to be seen. Kemi Balogun, TVC News, Abuja.
U.S. Secretary Service Director Randolph Alice may be scouting for another job because President Donald Trump ordered his sack a day after the resignation of another top national security official, Homeland Security Secretary Christian Nielsen. Trump instructed his acting chief of staff, Mick Mulvaney, to fire Secret Service Director Randolph Alice. The Secret Service Director reports to the Director of Homeland Security. Nelson resigned on Sunday amidst a surge in the number of migrants at the border with Mexico after a 17-month tenure. The Secret Service is an agency that provides protection for President Trump and other top U.S. officials.
You're watching TVC News at 10. Coming up in business.
Nigeria signs technical assistance agreement grant with Islamic Development Bank.
General Aircraft Leasing Group Holdings has put its order for 100 Boeing 737 MAX jets on hold until it's assured of the aircraft safety. The Hong Kong-listed lessor, which is controlled by the state-owned conglomerate China Everbright Group, placed an order for 50 aircraft in June 2017 and later expanded the order. The first MAX jet was expected to be delivered in the third quarter. Up system that was introduced to ease movements of trucks and trailers in and out of the Lagos seaport seems not to be working. TVC News observed that trucks are still occupying the bridges and roads along the port corridor. Ifunaya Eze reports.
Earlier in February, the Nigerian Ports Authority initiated a temporary call-up system. The plan was to help regulate the movement of all trucks and tankers into the ports and tank farms. 2 months after, the initiative appears to have been stalled. A truck operator says that was due to sabotage.
The system has not been working perfectly as expected because there are human intervention. Anything that has human intervention, definitely there will be favorism, there will be selectives. And more especially, there are people that are sabotaging the effort. They don't want it to work.
For port users, the implication is that the cost of doing business in Nigeria's ports will continue to escalate.
Nigeria is one of the costliest places to do business because you can imagine that it costs you more to move a container from Apapa port to Trefe than it costs you to move the same container from China to Nigeria. You can do the cost analysis. It costs you more. Formerly, you move container from here to Trefe, or from here to Alaba, or from here to other places within 70,000, 80,000. Now it's 400,000, 500,000, 600,000. How much is the freight from China to here?
But the Ports Authority and the Ministry of Works say that it is working in earnest to find a lasting solution to the problem.
A truck terminal is being constructed where we intend to have some trucks parked, and at the end of the day have a call-up systems there which is going to be automated. Of course, that list has been completed, but unfortunately, by the time the contract was being conceived, the idea of the shore protections was not put into consideration.
We are working hard to complete this the truck park. Like I said, we hope to complete it by the end of this month. And once it's completed, it will be handed over to Nigerian Port Authority, and then the public can start making use of it. And then, of course, by that time, we expect that even the
the calling system will have been properly put in place so that those who don't have business around this area should stay off.
Relevant authorities are being urged to scrutinize the activities of the Security Task Force mandated to control traffic around the port's vicinity following recurring allegations of extortion. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
Nigeria signed a technical assistance agreement grant worth $523,000 with the Islamic Development Bank Group in Morocco. This was disclosed by Minister of Finance Zainab Ahmed in a statement. Mrs. Ahmed signed the agreement on behalf of the Nigerian government, while the president of the Islamic Development Bank, Banda Haja, signed on behalf of the group. She said the grant will be used to address capacity building equipment and logistics upgrade in the Hajj Commission. As part of the deal, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria will get $243,000, while the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment would receive $280,000. The Nigerian stock market stayed deep in red on Monday as big cap stocks were down in market sectors. Observers of the markets linked trade conditions to poor economy. Effiong Ekop reports.
The stock market on Monday lost all advantages that were recorded on Friday when it was thought that price recovery had set in. Monday's trade saw the banking sector getting worse hits than expected as investors dumped their shares rapidly. GT Bank, which will close its register tomorrow for the payment of £2.45 dividend per share, was haunted by negative information arising from its deal with a motor company. Dangote Cement on its own went down by more than 7% in mid-trade, fueling low interest by investors to hold up its stocks. By the close of the day, the market index came down by nearly 2% on the back of stock sales by many investors. Analysts interviewed by TVC News said investors' confidence had come down since the economy appeared not to hold strong fundamentals for high-profile investments. Long lines of price losers crowded many of the trading tables. Effiong Ekop, TVC News at the Stock Exchange.
And crude oil price has peaked above $70 per barrel at the world market, even as Saudi Arabia wants the U.S. not to go ahead with its anti-OPEC bill. Saudi has threatened to end the sale of crude oil in dollars of America if America insists on putting up a bill that will antagonize OPEC. Saudi Arabia leads OPEC's campaigns for oil price stability. And that's all we have for you in business. Still ahead on TVC News at 10. Chelsea beats West Ham to go third on English Premier League table. Details of these and more from Sport Desk.
And in sport, Eden Hazard was the man of the match as Chelsea, of course, beat West Ham. Chelsea took control of the game, of the blast of the whistle, and also took advantage of West Ham's embarrassing first half performance. Eden Hazard opened the scoring midway in the first stanza after a brilliant run. We then completed the breeze at the tail end of the game with another good goal. Of the league table, and of course moved Chelsea in the log of the league table. The Blues jumped 2 places above London rivals Tottenham and Arsenal, who both have 1 match in hand. The two teams remain unchanged, with Liverpool leading and Manchester City in second.
Yeah, I think so. 5 games to play, not easy game, but we are Chelsea. We have the players. We can do everything. So top 4 is the target, Europa League is the target, so now we'll go for both.
Perfect, thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
An action returns in the UEFA Champions League with quarter-final matches. 2 matches are on the card for Tuesday as Liverpool host FC Porto, while Tottenham welcome Manchester City in all England affair. We have preview of both matches.
Liverpool host Portuguese champions Porto at Anfield in the first leg of the Champions League quarter-final tie on Tuesday night. Liverpool welcomed Porto on the back of a 3-1 away victory at Southampton on Friday. Mohamed Salah scored his first goal in almost 2 months at St. Mary's, helping the Reds to reclaim the lead in the Premier League title race with Manchester City.
Salah running at Bertrand. Salah scores with speed.
Porto are also involved in a tight title race in the Portuguese Championship as they sit second, level on points with Primeira Liga leaders Benfica. Liverpool will be without left-back Andy Robertson due to red card at the Allianz Arena to rule him out of the first leg against Porto. Midfielder Adam Lallana is likely to miss the game with a muscular problem, while long-term absentees Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain and Joe Gomez also remain sidelined.
Using the good situation we are in, but we know how difficult the situation is as well. But it's good. We like it. We like it. We're looking forward to the challenges we are facing in the next couple of weeks, and so tomorrow night a tough one against Porto, and yeah, hopefully we can use the good shape the boys are in the moment.
The question, referees pointed to the spot.
Aguero scores. Too easy for Sergio Aguero.
Elsewhere, Sergio Aguero has handed Manchester City a fitness boost ahead of the Champions League quarter-final first leg at Tottenham on Tuesday. Aguero has not played since he went off injured during the 2-0 victory against Fulham last month, but he's now back in training. Fullbacks Kyle Walker and Benjamin Mendy should also be available at the Tottenham Hotspur new stadium. Meanwhile, Spurs will be without Eric Dier, Eric Lamela and Serge Aurier.
Every year is always a massive bonus. It's an unbelievable competition to be involved in, and to be in a stage like this is, you know, a really special, a special thing, and we just need to, you know, stay focused and try and enjoy it as much as we can.
But it's not a competition. We know how tough it is. So all the teams, 8 teams, are in the competition, are contenders to, you know, to win this prize, this Champions League. First leg, tough opponent. We know each other quite well, and we're going to make a good game.
And Jaden Berkey and substitute Sophie Smith scored early in the second half to lift Canada to a 2-1 win over Nigeria and the women's football friendly play on Monday. 18-year-old Jada Rivery was making a first start and third appearance for Canada, set up both goals. Desire Paranuze had given Nigeria first half lead before Canada bounced back. The Canadians are ranked 5th in the world, while Nigeria's Super Falcons are number 38 on the global scene. Both games are preparing for the FIFA Women's World Cup scheduled to hold in France. The continued absence of Super Eagles captain John Mikel Obi from the national team has erupted divergent views, with insinuations the midfielder may not make the squad to the Nations Cup in Egypt. Mikel who last played for Nigeria at the World Cup last year and has missed all national team assignment since Nigeria crashed out in Russia World Cup. The former Chelsea midfielder has been in good form for championship side Middlesbrough. The former Super Eagles captain Joseph Yobo says Mikel's experience will be needed at the Nations Cup in June. He commended the team's recent progress in international football, but insists Mikel still has a role to play if Nigeria must do well in Egypt.
I think if he is called upon, he's experienced enough. You're saying of a player that you know his qualities and his capacity where he's played. He's been to the Nations Cup as well, so he's not new to it. He's into his prime age now, so experience is what counts for him. So I think he is still a very good player. I'm not in the position to say is he going to be included or not. The team is doing very well, but you cannot, you know, dismiss his experience and what he offers. But looking at this team, they're doing very well. So if he's included, obviously his experience is going to be huge for the team.
A badge of the Nigerian youth team, and of course, will be to the International Handball Federation Intercontinental Men's Trophy in Kosovo as suffered a setback in its traveling arrangements. The national under-18 team was at the Maritime International Airport on Monday for the trip to Kosovo, while they were not allowed boarding following the refusal of Qatar to grant the team's transit through Doha. The Nigerian under-18 team is scheduled to play their first match on Wednesday, the opening day of the competition. The national under-21 team are also scheduled to leave the country on Tuesday ahead of their game on Thursday and the same competition. The Intercontinental Trophy tournament for youth and junior men holds in Kosovo from the 10th to 14th of April. Nigeria is scheduled to play Chinese Taipei in the under-19 on Wednesday, and both countries square up against under 21 on Thursday. Nigeria is Africa's representative at the 8th Nation Tournament.
And that's it on sport, I believe. Finally, on the news now, a British woman is facing likely 2 years in jail in Dubai for calling her ex-husband's new wife a huss on Facebook.
Well, TVC News' Oluwatosin Omoboye Samson tells us more.
Laleh Sharavesh was arrested at a Dubai airport after flying there with her daughter to attend her former husband's funeral, who died of heart attack. She faces prosecution over 2 Facebook comments she posted on pictures of her husband remarrying in 2016. She was married to her ex-husband for 18 years, during which she lived in the United Arab Emirates for 8 months. While she returned to the UK with her daughter, her husband stayed in the United Arab Emirates and the couple got divorced. The 55-year-old woman discovered her ex-husband was remarrying when she saw photos of the new couple on Facebook. She posted 2 comments, including one that said, and I quote, "I hope you go under the ground, you idiot. Damn you, you left me for this horse." Her husband's new wife, who lives in Dubai, reported the comments. Under the UAE's cybercrime laws, a person can be jailed or fined for making defamatory comments on social media. Detained in Dubai, she could be sentenced to up to 2 years in prison or fined £50,000, despite the 55-year-old writing the Facebook post while in the UK. Oluwatosin Omoboye Samson, TVC News.
I guess you have to be careful what you copy
Exactly.
from
Mind
social
what
media
you
now.
say, mind what you type and put online. Very simple. All right, with that, we wrap it up on TVC News at 10. But before we go, a quick recap of our top stories.
Low bank and killed 6 persons arrested by the army.
Fire raises arrival section of the Salmon Bakwe International Cargo Airport in Owerri.
Outside Nigeria, President Trump orders sack of U.S. Secret Service Director. And in sports, Super Falcons of Nigeria lose to Canada in a pre-World Cup friendly. Now, all those stories and even more can be found on our website at tvcnews.tv. You can also get the latest stories as they break on our website as well. You can also follow us on all social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. The handle to search for is at tvcnewsng, and you will get the latest of stories happening within Nigeria and the rest of the world. Thank you for watching and bye for now.